Tape www.suividecolosénégal.com. À École au Sénégal, c'est facile, tu n'as qu'à te connecter. Tape École au Sénégal, les leçons sont beaucoup plus détaillées.
Good morning, everyone. This is Teacher Rexa, and I'm happy to be back to you all, serving you all. I hope that the weekend was good, and I hope that we did some revision about our last topic on we had different topics about values and morals and cultures. Today we're going to look at a different form. It's more into interaction, how to make suggestions. By the way, what is a suggestion? And we should be careful because sometimes we intertwine or intercorrelate suggestions with advice. A suggestion is something that is abstract. It's an idea, it's an advice, it's a plan that you may or may not consider. You know, it's somebody telling you something or telling someone something that you may probably want to follow, that you might want to take into consideration. It's giving an opinion about something, but in the form of a recommendation. You know, that is a suggestion. You're recommending something. You're giving an option. You're giving your point of view about something that you think that you might probably take into consideration. And suggestions are different from advice in the sense that, a little bit, in such a sense that advice, it's kind of like a noun. Advice is just telling your opinion. That's an advice. You know, it's telling them what you want, your opinion that may not go through. Whereas a suggestion is an idea that may be taken into consideration. That's just the little things where advice and suggestions differ. And on the board, I've given, there are different terms or different things or different rules that you can play, that you can use on how to suggest something, you know. And first of them, the models. I told you, you know what the models are: could, would, should, and can. And I have them here. The first of them on how to give a suggestion or how to put out a suggestion. The first of them is the subject plus should plus the verb. The subject, he, they, Paul, Mark, Simon, Rita, Raisa, that is the subject. With should as a model, and then the verb. For example, what is an example that we can give here for the subject? Mark should go diving. Full stop. Mark, the subject, should, and the verb go diving. That is a suggestion that could be looked upon. Another one, for example, they should try out the new restaurant. That's another example. They, the subject, should try the verb out the new restaurant. They could give another one. She should be here by now. She should be here by now. That's another example of a suggestion. She should be here by now. Mark should go diving. They should try out the new restaurant. The next one is could, should. That's the next one. Should could be replaced with need. And need, it's when it's a stronger language, when you're imposing, when you're kind of not giving an option to that person. For example, you need to be here by now. You know, for example, For example, they need. I told us need could replace should, because need, it's when it's tougher. It's when it's tougher. It's when you are giving that person a deadline. It's when you're giving that person like no other option. You use need. You need to decide by the end of the day. If you're gonna stay, you're gonna leave. You need to decide by the end of the day. They need a job as soon as possible. In order to take care of these bills, they need a job as soon as possible. There's a need. There's a deadline. There's a need used. And then could is softer. Could, it's in a softer tone when you use the modal could. It's a softer tone. With the use of could, it's different from should. With could, you have been presented multiple options. With could, there's a possibility. But whereas with should, it just gives you an opinion. It gives you just one reason, like one way to go through. That is with should. Should does not give you options. It just tells you that's what you should think about doing. With need, it imposes and gives you a deadline. Whereas with could gives you options. It's not about my opinion. It's not about the speaker's opinion, but it's about you making a decision. You know, that's the issue. That's the issue with could. With could, for example, you could try swimming, or so I don't know. You could try, let's say, basketball or tennis. Those are options. Why don't you try? You could try coming over. You know, you could try eating healthier. You could try eating healthier. You could try. Those are options. You could try eating healthier. Or you could try that job. Why don't you try that job? You know, you could try it. You could try going to the market. You could try options. For example, if you're on, you know, an option, you know, you could say, could. I told us that could, it's using a softer voice, is giving options. You're giving options. And I said should is giving your opinion. You're giving your opinion as regards to a situation or something. It's giving your opinion. Whereas with could, it's giving options so that whoever, the opposite person or the other person, may decide. And I told us that with could, there are different ways you can say. It's either you can say, for example, he could take the bus or the subway. He could take the bus or the subway. Mary could come either the first or the second shift. Those are options. They could try sushi or noodles. There are options that the other party can decide. And another way of using could is the subject plus could plus the verb. Remember, the first one was the subject plus should plus the verb. But could is softer. Could brings out more options. So, for example, you could go to Senegal for vacation. You, subject, could, plus the verb go to Senegal for vacation. I'm just saying, if you don't have, you're thinking of where to spend the summer break, why don't you try Senegal? Why don't you try France? Why don't you try Cameroon? You could go to Senegal for vacation. They could come over for Christmas Day, the subject day. They could come over for Christmas. They could come over for Christmas. Kayla could bake a cake. Kayla could bake a cake if she wanted to. Why not? She could bake a cake. These are the forms, one of the main forms, or one of the forms of suggesting something, giving an advice.
Senegal